One of the things that we find is that when talking with people and recording their stories and writing their own memoirs, and I'm sure there'll be some in this room, because of your age and because of talking with your grandparents, there is a live memory that stretches back about 150 years. So, you know, I'm 50 years old. If I was talking to my grandmother when I was 10, and she was 50 years old at that time, well, that's 100 years that we've gone back, and it can go back much further than this. And this is an example of one of the, a short clip of one of the stories that I recorded.
The Fowler wife, which was Catherine Ann Jones, they came from Wales, and her father was Captain Matthias Jones, and he did quite well for himself, and he actually bought half share in the sailing ship the Harriet. He did actually come out to Australia and go over to New Zealand, and they dropped anchor in Auckland or somewhere to go ashore for water. But they came back to the boat PDQ because they'd lost one of the crew members because the Maoris were putting him in a pot to eat. And so they left New Zealand in great haste and headed, I gather, in a northwesterly direction, and they were staggered to find they were in the ring of fire, and they watched a volcano rise up out of the ocean.
So that's a small part of Zoe's story. Zoe you'll see over here with their two grandchildren, or great-grandchildren rather. So it's fantastic that those young girls will be able to listen to this recording when they're interested, when they reach an age of interest, and be able to connect. Of course they'll remember her, but I remember my own grandmother well, but don't have that connection now because I've forgotten some of those stories, because I spent a lot of time with her when I was that age, 5 or 6, up until 10 years old. Whoop. Well, today's seminar, the aim of this seminar is to help it make it easier for you to write your memoirs. We're going to provide you some ideas to start writing, how to organise, how to structure, how to put things together. I'm going to introduce you to some options for putting together your story, publishing your story. One of them might be the oral history book. One of them might be a videography with Bob and myself. The other might be writing your story and just producing it in a spiral bound for your family, or it might be producing a more extensive publication, having it professionally printed, which these days is not as expensive as you think because of the digital printing methods. What I won't be doing is giving you writing techniques. That's beyond the scope of today. What's your motivation for writing? I'm sure with the variety of people that we have in the room, each of you have got a different motivation for coming here today. Each of you have got different ideas of what you're thinking about writing. Are you passing on your family history? Is it your personal history? Is it about your work? What do you really want to convey? Is it your philosophies? Is it about when you underwent some sort of personal transformation, if you went through some trauma or you got over a serious illness or something of that nature? Or is it a combination of all these? I'm sure as many people there are in the room today, there'll be as many different motivations for doing it. However, you need to have a strong motivation in order to take your project through to completion, whatever it is that you want to do. Think about what is it that you really want to share. What years will your memoirs cover? I mean, the difference between an autobiography and memoirs is really only a period of time. A memoir really says it's capturing this focused area of time. Might be when you're working, or it might be family life, or it's a more focused. I mean, the word has become interchangeable. Autobiography implies that you're writing your own life history from go to woe. Memoirs implies that it's a more focused period of time. But I'll use the word memoirs today, but take it interchangeably.